Hey everybody, and welcome to the weekly reroll, the show where we recap what happened this last week in D&D on Twitch. So, without further ado, let's jump right into our first campaign that we're going to discuss today, Roleplay Solemn. And I do apologize for being late. I just woke up at like noon, or at 1, so here we go. Roleplay Solemn. This last week in Roleplay Solemn was an interesting one. Where we had left off at the start of the week was with the players defeating the orc army that was chasing them. Now a lot of people are calling it an orc army, but it was like 120 orcs. Like that's not an army. It's like a small brigade, or I don't actually know breakdowns of military unit types very well, but it was a small section of orcs. It wasn't in a full army, but whatever. Let's just keep calling it the orc army. Let the players feel good about themselves for now. Anyway, this week the party was traveling and stopped in a town to kind of like, well, you know what? There's a lot of people here. Let's try and gather some information about what's going on around us, which is a fantastic idea, and I really applaud the party for doing that. So they sent Leia in to like scout out this building and get as much information as possible. They sent their henchmen off to go figure out what's going on in these mines. They kind of looked around to figure out what is happening. So what is happening is that the town that they stopped in has a adamantium mine, or no, a mithril mine, sorry. And they're mining a shit ton of mithril out of there and shipping it off to this other town that it can be melted down and used in weapons and whatnot, and armor and yada yada yada. So the party's like, well, we could stop this mine, which would hurt them, but they'll just get it reopened, and if we stay here and defend the mine, they'll just converge on us with everything. All right, what if we just like, you know, sack their supply lines? That's a pretty good idea. So the party, after getting their shit together, leaves town and camps outside on the road, waiting for someone to come by, waiting for their next shipment of mithril to leave the town. And they kind of figured out the departure date and whatnot from questioning and listening in on things and snooping about. So the party sits off on the side, and all of a sudden this messenger starts, running down the road the next day. And they take the messenger out and read, take a look at the letter he was carrying. It basically just says it just says the party that you're looking for, the players' party, was in town. They left. They're on their way this direction. Get ready. And so far as like, aha, well, we've taken this letter now. They're not actually going to know where we are. Excellent job. And they pat themselves on the back. And then they wait for the cart. Now they know the cart is going to be doubly guarded this time because they heard some mentions about, well, those damn blah blah blahs are in the area. Let's double the protection on the carts. Their party's kind of being referred to as marauders right now. So the party waits, and sure enough, a couple days later, the cart comes packed with orcs and a wizard and a cleric and a knight. And then Zanzel throws a fireball in there. Everyone gets ready, starts charging. The knight gets all ready to go, and then he gets held. And the wizard gets killed in the fireball. The cleric gets killed by the next magic missile. So now it's just like foot soldier orcs, and the party just mops them up. However, Ryan pulls a Bregor. He doesn't die, but his beautiful two-handed sword that gives you an extra attack every round and is +2, he critically fumbles an attack. He critically fumbles the save. He rolls a 2 on the next save, right? So that's a 1 and 1 and a 2. Bad, right? So I'm like, okay, Ryan, you end up slamming your sword against the side of the orcish armor. You need to give your sword a saving throw versus crushing blow, otherwise it will break. All he had to do was roll a 7 or better, I think. I think it was a 7 or better. He rolls a 1. His sword shatters, completely shatters on the side of the orc. Pieces fall to the ground, and then he's just kind of caught there like, oh shit. Ryan no longer has a magical two-handed sword, which is problematic because he's specialized in two-handed swords, and it is so rare to find a magical two-handed sword. It is so rare to find a magical two-handed sword. Ryan's kind of fucked right now. I mean, yeah, you can use a normal two-handed sword, you can find magical other weapons, but a magical two-handed sword is very, very, very hard to come by. So, especially in these times. So that's what happened with Roleplay Solemn. Yeah, they mopped it up and they're going to move on and all, but they basically screwed the ad. Oh, they also used a portable hole to toss all the mithril ore that they found in, and now they've got just this sack of mithril ore. Oh, this portable hole filled with mithril ore. So yeah, that, everyone, is Roleplay Solemn. We're going to move on to Dicing with Death. Excuse me. Dicing with Death. Well, this week's episode was kind of a short one. And by short episode, well, I mean, we had a bunch of technical problems, actually, because Comcast was throttling my bandwidth in the middle of an episode, which ended up with me not being able to stream, which just got me super pissed off, and there's been a whole Twitter war about it. Anyway, Dicing with Death. We only ended up doing 3 hours because the evil Comcast issue, but it was one of those episodes where we didn't. There was action low, not action heavy, action light. Qualnier kind of went around town looking to buy property, and trying to talk to people about buying this here, talk to people about buying that there. Eventually, he called in his favor with the Sunblade to get some nice beachfront property over near the library quarter. Which is nice because now we have very expensive property very close to the water, and we can build a tunnel out of it, and then we can have all these cool escape things, and there's a sewer near there, so we could have an entrance into the sewer and an entrance out of the sewer, and we can do all sorts of cool stuff. But we did call on our Sunblade favor very quickly, which is unfortunate. The episode ends with us going into the Underdark in search of a geomancer who can shape the stones into my house, because the Sunblade's going to help us build the house too by finding this geomancer. So we descend into the Underdark, and we trek for days in darkness, and eventually we come across a party of Grimlocks that attack us, and we hold them back and defeat them, but the Sunblade is badly damaged in the process. I'm badly damaged in the process. Michelle's slightly damaged in the process, but we're okay. So where we are with Dicing with Death is we just need to, patch up the Sunblade and ourselves and haul our butts to wherever it is this Geomancer is. And that, everyone, is Dicing with Death. We're going to go on to Honorbound, which we just played yesterday. And I'd like to say Honorbound is getting better each and every week. It kind of had a bit of a dicey start. We're all aware of that. But you know what? It's been getting better, and it's getting better, and it's getting better, and it's finding its niche. And its niche is kind of the I don't even know how to describe it, but it's definitely finding its very own spot in D&D-esque games. I'm getting happier and happier with Honorbound. So if you haven't been watching it, or if you checked it out in the beginning and haven't come back yet, you know what? Give it another shot next week. It's getting pretty good. We have a DM Hackspare that runs across the stream whenever we think Chucky's oh yeah, he just dies outright. Nope, you can't save him. DM Hackspare runs across the stream. It's great. We love it. Anyway, because we accuse him of DM hacking all the time. Anyway, what are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about Honorbound and what happened in this episode of Honorbound. Well, I interrogate the elf woman who is attacking us with the bow and leading the goblins and hobgoblins, and she's just, she's too proud. No, fuck you, I'm not telling you anything, so I just kill her outright and then nail her head to a tree with my short sword. We wake up the next morning and the town has vanished. The town of Golden Sword, where we were stationed, or where we were at the moment, is gone. And Justin relays to us, we spoke to the elder about earlier. Turns out there are 5 moonstones: a red one, a black one, a green one, a blue one, and a silver one. Now, if you change silver to white, those are the 5 colors of the chromatic dragons, which is something we've kind of been working with pretty heavily here, although we're remembering that just because those are the colors, that doesn't actually mean they have anything to do with dragons. And you also have that white-silver issue, right? They're not the same. So there's these 5 stones. Every time that the stones get discovered by people who would destroy them, the stone and the town around it apparently gets moved, and the stone guardians lose all memory of where the stones were before. I think it's some sort of protective measure so that they can't accidentally spill the bean. I don't know. It's a little bit confusing right now. We're not sure why these stones are getting moved and what the hell these stones even are. We're kind of interested in them, but at the same time, we're kind of dragging our feet about it because it's like, fuck, we don't want to get dragged in to some random stone guarding work. Whatever, right? So the stones have moved, and we are the descendants of the previous stone guardians or something like that because they smeared our blood on the stones and and the blood didn't disappear. Or they spilled Justin's blood on the stone. Ryan and I were like, "Fuck that shit. We are not letting you like cut our hand and take our blood samples for shit. This is fucking weird. We're out." But the town disappeared in the night, and we had an idea. We had been left with the location of one of the stones that hasn't moved in forever. And that means that the guardian who's guarding that stone pretty much knows everything about the stones and remembers everything. So we could go to him for answers. But first, I said before, we're kind of dragging our feet about the stones. We don't really want to do the stones. The stones are kind of dumb. Whatever. We'll probably end up doing the stones. But first, there were all those goblins that attacked this town. Let's go figure out more about them. So we tracked them, and we tracked them, and we tracked them, and we tracked them until we came to their hideout behind a waterfall. Yes, very cliche, but awesome. So we swim behind the waterfall because the water was deep enough that we would have to swim, which brings all sorts of questions about how the goblins got in and out. If they're shorter and smaller than us, are they just always soaked when they leave their base? Whatever, it doesn't matter. There might be another exit. Who cares? That's part of the charm of Honor Bound is Ryan, Justin, and I complaining about Chucky's world, and not in like an actual "oh my god, your world's stupid," but just like nitpicking small details. It's fun. We enjoy it. I hope Chucky enjoys it too. I kind of feel bad for him because we're always picking on him and making fun of his world, but we do it in a very friendly way. So I hope he's not offended. Um, anyway, so we go into the Goblin Cave looking for people, and you know what? We don't find any goblins, but we do find ogres, ogrillions, which are half ogres, half orcs, but these might have just been actually half ogres, half humans, and some slaves that are escaping when we're as we're fighting in, some slaves are fighting out. DM hacks on the timing, probably get us a little bear running across the screen, but whatever. What was I saying? Oh yes. So we're entering the cave. We killed all the enemies that we fought. Oh, there was also this crazy demon guy who had this like beard of iron spikes that he would attack with and disappeared upon being killed. Yeah, he was definitely some sort of like infernal beast. Anyway, so we kill all of them, and we run out of time, so we can't actually explore the cave and get any answers yet. But we did kind of clear the cave-ish. So that's what happened with Honor Bound. I don't know where we're going from there, but that's it. On to misclicks, which there was no misclicks because it's still on hiatus. Woo, look at that. Boop. All right. So that, everyone, has been the weekly reroll. Sorry again for being like 20 minutes late. I didn't really wake up until 1 o'clock, and the show's supposed to start at 1 o'clock, so yeah. If you stick around for a few minutes, we're going to be doing some cartography, and then later tonight we have Roleplay Solemn. So, see you guys then. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.